You're the whole package with this unity energy. Somebody is thinking about that you fit in to their view of what a good relationship should be like, or a good person. This is somebody that's reflecting on time spent in your presence. I'm hearing comfortable silence. So it feels like this is something that doesn't have to do with like deep and passionate moments, or times where like you're in the midst of conversation and time itself seems to slow down, or hours pass and it feels like you've only been spending just a few minutes with one another. This is something that even in the times where there's not a lot of excitement that is happening between the two of you, there's stillness. It's bringing to mind like two people that are hanging out and you're each on your phones, or maybe you're like, you're both on your laptops and you're doing work, or kind of like doing things that are fun, that are enjoyable, but you're each in your own spaces, like within a shared space. It's moments like that that are really being focused on by this person at this point in time. Like, you're somebody that fits in, not just with like all of these like high effort moments, but times of stillness as well. I'm hearing I can be calm with you. So you calm somebody's anxiety, you calm somebody's attachment issues. This may be somebody that is even like fearful of commitment, and you've kind of just gone with the flow of that. You've registered that for what it is. They don't feel pressure to act or to be anything other than who they are. And this is helping them to kind of relax, or even like relax their nervous system into the sense of like, we can take things slow, or it feels right that even sort of like the quieter or fearful or like shadow aspects of them, that there's like space for that. You can hold space for that. You're seeking to understand that, or maybe it's something that like you're resonating with as well. This is somebody that's like really in a flow state with you at this particular point in time. And there's a sense of almost like you feel to be someone that kind of fits in with a well-roundedness of what they've wanted in a relationship and in a partnership that they've not been able to experience with other people before. So this is somebody that is feeling like they're getting a lot of signs and a lot of confirmations from within themselves of like, yeah, I've done the right thing taking a chance on this situation. I've done the right thing putting myself out there to this person. I've done the right thing with whatever it is that they are kind of doing at this particular moment in time, where maybe there's just like there's stillness or there's quiet between the two of you, or an emphasis on those things. This may even be somebody that has a lot going on with work, with family life, or just like life in general. Maybe you have that, you both have that, or maybe you have that, or just they have that. And so it's almost like there's been a change in your interactions with one another to compensate for that, or because of that. And so it may be where it's like you're very tired when you get together, or it's kind of like you're very busy, you're kind of like each doing your work when you're hanging out with one another, or you kind of like take the opportunity, or try to make opportunities for one another to have these like experiences in the midst of like this other busyness. And this person is finding that to be very fulfilling, where they don't feel that they have to kind of like overgive or overcompensate or be anything other than kind of like who they are, or whatever's going on like with their disposition, or kind of their emotional state. Like you're somebody that's very adaptable to that, or there are like aspects within you that fit very well, or kind of like balance that out in a way that is it's very endearing to this person. It's something that is very, it's important. It's like emotionally important for them as well. That you're not finding them boring, or that it's like the quiet aspects of your connection or time spent together, that this is not something that is a turnoff for you, but it's something that you're able to sit very comfortably in with them. We also have imagine. So it feels like in the midst of more of like a quiet chapter or a period of time between the two of you, this person is really kind of, they're almost like lulled into an energy of focusing on how much at peace they feel in your presence. This is somebody who's imagining like having a family with you, making a home with you, maybe even thinking about like, what if we moved in with one another? What if we got married someday? And it wouldn't just be kind of like loud and exciting or like a very kind of dynamic connection at all times, but there's a sense of almost like you're somebody that's very like, the idea of coming home to you every day fills me with a sense of peace. You're able to bring an energy of peace, serenity, calmness, comfort into not just all the environments that you're in, but it's almost like something with this person, like they feel very nurtured by you, or something that they see. You're kind of like, you may be very just empathetic. You're kind of like sensitive to sort of like what it is they're going through, changes in their mood, or if they're like very stressed out, or they've got a lot on their plate. It's almost like little acts of generosity, even just giving them their space, giving them their quiet time. This is something that is very meaningful to them, to where they're feeling like you're a good person, you're the right person to partner up with in a way that's like, we could have a happy home, we could have a very satisfying life with one another. So in the midst of this like present moment, they are thinking about the future in a way that like, you're that missing ingredient that kind of like adds a layer of comfort into their life that they have been unable to kind of like create with other people in a while. Maybe they've never had it in relationships before. It's almost the sense of like, this person may really value their solitude or like their quiet time, and they don't feel that this connection or this relationship or the experience with one another, this doesn't intrude upon that. And so that feels to be something that's like very important or very special for this person. It's making them want to kind of like lean towards you or open up emotionally, because it's like this aspect of them, there's also an acceptance for that. Yeah, and we have centered. So again, they're focusing on, at this point in time, how you balance them out, not in the energy of like opposites attract, but almost the sense of like, you're able to really kind of adjust and sort of match the vibe that they're putting out. This is somebody that's able to kind of like take off the mask, take off the armor. They're not just having to always be upbeat or positive or really kind of engaging. There's almost a sense of almost, even if they don't have a lot to say, and you're kind of the you're the one that's talking about your day, you're talking about interesting things, and they're kind of just taking it all in, that's a relief for them to not have to be like forced to be always kind of active and performing or giving a whole lot in. And this isn't something where it's kind of like they're getting complacent, but there's almost a sense of kind of like, if they're feeling off or they're feeling down, or they're just very like tired or overwhelmed, that you're able to kind of read that about them, and you're able to adjust your expectations or how you're participating with them accordingly, where it feels very good in your presence. It feels very relaxing in your presence. Anything that you've done for this person, maybe you like cooked them dinner, they came home and there was dinner, or something that you've done, you've given them a back rub, or something that is kind of just like, here, I know you got a lot going on, so let me be the one to make effort. Like, they don't just have to be the one to kind of make those gestures, take those action steps towards you. That is like an endearing energy. Like, they feel very nurtured by you. It's like a mothering kind of an energy. Like, you've been doting on this person in some way, even if it's just like honoring their need for peace and quiet for a minute or for a period of time. This is something that is, it's checking off a very important box for them. It's a green light for this person of like, okay, this is a circumstance that even if I'm off my game, or, I'm kind of just in need of that sort of like downtime, or that stillness, that this connection, we can meet one another on that level, and it's still good. It still feels fulfilling. Yeah, and we've got gratitude. So this person sees you as a blessing in their life, not just at this point in time, but they're really focused on this energy of gratitude, like the blessing of having encountered you, having experienced you, where you're at with one another in your dynamic at this point in time. it's bringing to mind too, if this is like a long distance connection or something where you're just connecting with this person virtually, like you haven't met in person. It's like the idea of even kind of like getting messages from you or having communications with you. Those might have kind of dropped back at this point in time, or that just maybe where you're at with one another in general. And there's a sense of almost like that is something which really brightens their day. It's something that they really look forward to. It's something that's very different from the nature of interactions they have, it feels like, have to have with other people. So maybe there's a lot going on at work with this person, or they could be having like stress or problems like with family, with friends, with struggling with themselves even. And there's a sense of like, you're an oasis for this person. You're a sanctuary for this person. Exchanges with you help this person to kind of like decompress. And so they're very grateful for that. We also have fairy tale. Yeah, so this is somebody that it feels like they're almost, this may be somebody that's kind of like they're in a funk right now, they're not feeling their best, or they're kind of just, there are things going on that are sort of creating more that need for like quiet time or quiet space, or they don't just have like a lot of time or energy or attention to sort of like pour into this in the way they did before. And there's a sense of like, when I'm feeling better, I want to make this up to you. When I'm feeling more like myself, or I'm less stressed out, when I've got more time, when I got more energy at the end of the day, I want to make sure that you know that this has not gone unnoted. This has not gone unnoticed. This is somebody that it feels like really believes in reciprocity, and whatever you're doing right now, however you're kind of like honoring, it feels like a lot of unspoken needs. You're just sort of like reading this person's energy and adjusting accordingly, or it's something that's really like aligning with your personality, with what you've got going on in some sort of way. They're seeing like the two of you mesh even on this less than exciting level. And so there's a sense of like they're kind of like thinking, or they've made a note to themselves of sort of like, I want to make sure that you feel very appreciated. I want to make sure that you understand that this is a very meaningful quality in our dynamic with one another. This is a quality that is very important to me. This is something that I prioritize as an experience of value, or a quality of value in a person that I want to build with in a long-term sense. So this can be something where there's like a sweet gesture, or cuddle time that they want to have, or just something where there's almost kind of like a softer energy that they want to have or to experience with you. Something where it may even be that they start to kind of open up. They start to sort of take those quiet times or those quiet moments, and it's something where you almost might experience this person kind of like sharing their feelings, starting to talk about those feelings more, starting to kind of let you into that internal world more. Not in a way of like, okay, I finally trust you, let me let you in, but in a way to where you don't confuse any kind of like low effort or sort of like quiet energy from them as like they're detaching, or they're disinterested, or you've hit a wall with one another. It's kind of like things that they want to sort of bring to your attention, or share with you, or demonstrate that is like, this means a lot to me, that you're holding space for me in this way. And these are kind of like the nature of certain feelings that I have, or certain kind of like intimate aspects of myself that I can like share with you in a way that you understand that there's a coziness, or there's like a shared kind of warmth within this sort of space, or there may not be a lot of excitement, not a lot happening. They're not really kind of like, the live wire at this particular point in time, but it's kind of just, it's like a dull energy. It's just a calm energy. It may be just a lull in your experiences with one another. But they're wanting to let you know that it's like, hey, I'm very present in that moment, and I appreciate that you're here and present with me in this moment as well. Yeah, and we've got luminous. So if you've stepped into kind of that nurturing energy for this person, you're coddling them in any sort of way, or kind of just being sweet, or even just like respecting their need for kind of like quiet, privacy, downtime, anything that kind of applies to any of those themes. There's something that they're very like attracted to this. They find that to be a very endearing quality about you, or you embody that role of a nurturer very well. They may be thinking about like, wow, you'd make a really good mother, to our kids, or this is something where I would feel very, again, like calm, peaceful, serene, safe within the household. you know, if you guys are not yet living with one another, or haven't like had those conversations, there's a sense of kind of like they want to start to explore that. They want to start to kind of direct the focus towards those things, because there's a sense of like, I think we could have a very happy home with one another. The idea of happily ever after embodied in the here and now, you're bringing a lot to the table that really resonates with them. It's something where it almost like soothes their inner child, like they feel very safe with you. And this may be somebody, this kind of indicates to me almost sort of like somebody that may have had to like perform for love, or they were very used to like conditional love, where if they weren't like giving in, they weren't feeding, they weren't kind of like animating themselves, or presenting like a certain facade for the benefit of others, the emotional well-being of others, and it may have been like love was withdrawn, or they were punished for that. And so there's a sense of like they may just not have the capacity at this point in time to kind of be their usual gregarious self, their bubbly self, you know, is actively engaged with you as they typically are. And the way in which you're responding to that, it's something which is really reassuring. It makes it feel very safe to their inner child, of like, okay, I'm not going to get in trouble for this, I'm not going to get punished for this, you're not going to like close off or manipulate me, or you know, kind of use this place that I'm at emotionally against me. And so this is something that is like drawing them to you. It's something which is coaxing them to you as like a safe space for them emotionally. And we also have rejoice. So yeah, there's a sense that like moments with you, moments of quiet, the things that you're kind of like doing to fill that space of quiet, even this is something that brings this person a lot of joy. They're very comforted by your presence, seeing you, hearing your voice, you know, even just like being in that stillness and in that silence with you. There's a sense that there's almost like a center within them that is just like humming with joy. You bring a lot of like core joy to them. So this is not just kind of like, hey, we're happy and we're having fun and we're having a good time. But it's a sense of almost, again, like bliss, gratitude, like they're really just sitting in that, that you're somebody that matches and aligns with that frequency of someone that they could see themselves being with in the best of times and worst of times. That you're somebody that is not just here, you know, when the sun's shining and everything's great, but you're someone that would sort of sit in that gloomy energy. You'd sit in that stillness. You'd ride out the storms with them. And it feels like that's very important for this person, in terms of like what they're looking for in long-term partnership, is someone that can match that frequency, both the highs and lows. And so there's a lot of like rejoicing, because you're that person. You're demonstrating that to them in real time, that it's not just like, oh no, I promise I'll be there for you, whatever. You know, there's something where you're actively experiencing that. This may be something you aren't fully aware of, and maybe that this person is kind of like busy, and so there's not a whole lot of time to spend with them, or with one another. But there's something going on internally where they're kind of like, they're in sort of a quiet, or just kind of a still place within, and it's still aligning with the two of you. Like you're not missing a beat as far as that is concerned, you know, with them, like from their perspective. And so this is something that's making them very happy. Like, yeah, I've made the right decision to kind of trust in where this connection's going, or trust in kind of this almost like a test. Like they haven't tried to like test this connection, but it's almost like, okay, is this something where, you know, you're still gonna want to be with me, you're still gonna show up, you know, you're still gonna hold space for me, or you're gonna hold it down for yourself while I'm kind of like internalized, I tuck back in my shell, I'm in that hermit mode, or just kind of like low energy. Is this something where we still have that level of compatibility, where we can still kind of like even just look towards one another and have that very deep understanding, and they're feeling and experiencing them like, yes, this connection is sustainable even in that realm, or at that end of the spectrum. And so it's bringing them a lot of joy. We also have compassion. Yeah, so if you've been very compassionate to this person for things that they can't talk about, things that they can't share, or even just something you're kind of like intuitively like, I think this person might be feeling kind of down, anything you've done to try to cheer them up, help them out with certain things, just kind of like little things to sort of get their mind off of circumstances and situations, or, you're just sharing that kind of quiet space with them in a very sort of unobtrusive kind of way. This is something that it feels like is they like that a lot. This is something that it's like, okay, this is a meaningful quality, and they want to make sure that they are kind of reciprocal with that for you. So you may also start to notice that this person starts to ask more about like your feelings, as a way to sort of nudge you to kind of open up to them. Like they're here for you, not just when it's good, but also, with things that are kind of troubling you, or things that, might be kind of like aspects within self where you feel very overwhelmed. We also have divinity. So they see you as like this blessing, this godsend. You are showing them actively at this point in time a version of love that they have never experienced before. Something that is almost like, it's a quiet love, and it's something that it feels like fulfills a need. Again, like wounded inner child is coming through. Like it fulfills some sort of need of their inner child that was like deprived before, things they never thought to ask for, or if they'd had kind of aspects of this, or this need within themselves, is something that might not have been responded to very positively, either by their primary caregivers or people growing up, or like other romantic partners. But it's a sense of like, with you, you're healing that aspect of them. There's a lot of self-acceptance that is happening at this point in time, because it's like, it's a quiet period between the two of you, and yet you're still excited to show up for them. It's a quiet period between the two of you, and you're still meeting on a level. And there's a sense that they even think that this is kind of like, this is a manifestation of like a higher level love, because it has the ability to sustain even in those valleys, even in the lows, even in the times there's not a whole lot going on, or there's not a whole lot that they have to give. This person may have things that are going on financially. They don't have a lot to give at this point in time, in terms of like, you're going out, they're giving you gifts, or you're like having experiences with one another. Maybe something where they're having to work a lot, and so there's not a lot of time to spend with you. But there's a sense of almost like you're able to kind of make the most of the moments with one another, and that's something that they really value and cherish. They're seeing that you are there for them in an overall sense, and not just in a way that like, when it sort of serves more like ego needs. This is almost something where you're touching at this point in time with one another on some of those more deeper emotional needs, or even like needs of the soul. And we also have abundance. Yeah, so again, there's that energy of like gratitude, blessings. They feel very abundant and very prosperous, even in the stillness, even in the quiet. It's kind of like, I can't think of anyone else I would like to share moments where we do absolutely nothing, but we're just in that shared space, or I'm all alone and I'm thinking of you. You've given this person time to almost like dream and fantasize, and sort of world build in the direction of kind of like, let's manifest the next chapter between the two of us. Let's be equal partners in this, rather than one person doing all that heavy lifting, the other person exclusively receiving. There's like a level of reciprocity that's being demonstrated through this quiet, that is very valuable to this person. It's very meaningful to this person. And again, these are the energies of somebody that it feels like, when they're feeling better, when their mood's back up, when the energy's back up, or, beyond kind of these experiences or these moments of like stillness and quiet, there's a sense of like, I want us to kind of embark on actively building more closeness with one another. I want to start to share more. I want to start to give more. I want to start to pour more of myself, into what we are building going forward, into this bond going forward. And so it feels like, you've most likely aligned with a giver who may not have ever received. So whatever you're kind of doing at this particular point in time, this is something where they are really cherishing this experience of like receiving respect from you, receiving love from you, even just receiving that kind of like joint stillness with you. That is something that it feels like is really kind of filling them up in a part of them that has never been like properly expressed or understood or loved by other people. And so this is something that is making them feel like you're the good choice, you're the right choice, you're the proper choice for them, building a life of abundance moving forward. So, those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content that I put out here. And don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.